Brokers of Reddit, how crazy is it where you work on the trade floor RN? My wife works for TDA, and she says the phone calls are 700 deep with hours-long wait times. Every risk management employee at every money manager was busy checking short positions to see how vulnerable those positions are. Retail sales at a broker-dealer. It's been busier these last few days, with right hand suspending GME and various other datakers. My inbox and voicemail has been a flood of "do you guys offer GME?" Worked from 7 AM to 10 today, yesterday to try and keep up with it. What's more interesting is how this is making its way outside of the retail trader circle. My mother asked me to explain how a short position works yesterday. My phone has been blowing up with friends and family asking for my take on what's going on. A lot of people learning the basics of trade, which is a good and bad thing. I'll leave a comment here because I'm a bit mentally taxed. But I feel like I had front row seats to a historic market event. I would also like to jump in and say, as far as I'm aware, the trade floor craziness that is portrayed in the movies is really not a thing anymore. Most brokers just sit at computers and make phone calls and trade via computer etc. I know there's still a couple futures markets that have screaming, yelling etc, but that's all kind of a bygone era. Maybe I'm wrong, but as much as I'm sure people envision people yelling, buy GME 154. LMAO, I thought this was Brokers of Reddit and was like, well, I have been summoned. I have a feeling there's a lot of dishonesty in this thread, and I'm not sure which side it's coming from. Trading floors don't exist anymore. At least not like you've seen them in movies. Those scenes of guys answering phones were people answering client calls to buy/sell stock. That is all but extinct. Any institutional investors with proprietary trading do so almost exclusively with models. If anyone left in finance is moving large amounts of stocks by their gut, it's because the power is so consolidated in one individual that there's no hectic scenes of papers flying and guys screaming around them. And they are most likely doing it on a computer screen. Trading floors nowadays look like cubicles sectioned into teams that contribute specific things. Most communication is done via Slack. And it's actually a pretty somber scene in times like these. It's just a bunch of stressed out people looking at screens. But again, even that hardly exists anymore. The scene of the most erratic hedge fund intimately trading in GameStop right now is probably 3 dudes crouched around a screen stewing and staring at a model. I work in web dev, but I do know that call volume was up 8x. I've been hearing lots of comments like how they've never seen this much attention on a single stock in decades, and that includes the com bubble. Retail trade volume has dramatically increased this year with no fee trades, along with many retail investors stuck at home, but this is beyond insanity. Phone rep here, absolutely crazy times. Hold times are through roof. We can't keep up with this pace. I work for one of the largest firms as a broker. Our hold times are longer than normal, back to 2 hours at most. Similar to April/May of 2020. Around half the portfolios I saw today had some meme stock in them. I've also received way more calls from people in their late 20s than usual. They usually need less tech support, etc. Our company has restricted many stocks from being bought on margin/writing covered calls W/new shares purchased. Tons of new accounts. And there's a feeling of sticking it to the man, and that the stock market is just gambling. Edit. Also a lot of people shitting on Robinhood, which I find funny. Happy to answer any questions. I'm basically underpaid call center support. Keep in mind that this thread is used for propaganda. No idea which side is spreading misinformation, most likely both. But read every post, as it was written by a propaganda troll to manipulate the outcome. We like the stock. Brokers don't work on trade floors. They work in support call/chat centers and in normal dev environments. And largely from home. It's not crazy at all. Just higher support volume than normal. Lots of calls and loads of meetings. Very stressed managers asking to double check positions and coordinate with risk team to send out emails. My boss is going crazy thinking he's gonna be rich. For the 3rd time. He's already rich. The week that everyone became a financial expert. Corporate equities are a $50 trillion market. GameStop was under $1 billion. Now it's $13 billion. $13 billion out of $50 trillion is 0 to 6%. It's almost incomprehensible how insignificant it is. That's 13 out of 50. 0. Like 1 out of 5. 0. It's not really a big deal. Except from a technical perspective, there's probably going to be some new regulation to prevent shorts from exceeding 100% of float. The part that scares me is how effective the populist narrative is. It reminds me of far-right conspiracy theories. It's a very compelling story that gets people riled up. David and Goliath attraction. You already see assholes like David Portnoy, ineffectively, but attempting to use the same tactics to get the hive mind to pump stocks like Nokia. It's apparent now how easily social media influence can move markets. And that brings in a new breed of irrationality and unpredictability to traditional methods of valuation, like political misinformation. I don't see any feasible way to prevent it. If you can start an effective enough meme, you can defeat a politician or control a stock's price. It's the same thing. In the long run, I think this will hurt small cap businesses as institutional investors steer clear of the high risk stocks that can be moved so easily. But it will no doubt be attempted on larger businesses too. It's not really new. Buy long and be loud and sell short, and be shrill are old phrases meaning buy and then try to get others to buy, or short and then get others to sell. But it used to be limited to a few elites with big platforms like Icon, etc. People who would be interviewed by the press and use that platform to move markets. And now it's apparently a more distributed, democratized platform. GME as an anomaly isn't really a big deal, but I do think it's signifying a paradigm shift that people will remember akin to Pizzagate in 2016. I expect regulators will fix shorting 100% of float like a bug fix. But big boys are likely to put a lot of muscle behind social media influence to distort the markets in their favor, and it will masquerade as a grassroots populist movement. People who work on Wall Street don't think Wall Street is bad. I see people saying it's not a big deal, but then why would they shut down everything on multiple platforms and cease it all?